Welcome back to another Wellbeing Wednesday where I'm going to do some tapping and some hand reflexology to help you with your wellbeing. Today's topic is going to be on fear, and while I'm normally quite general in my EFT tapping, today I will put in a few more specifics because sometimes when we feel fear, it doesn't manifest in our world as fear per se. Sometimes it can manifest as craving for food or being snappy at other people or feeling emotional and crying. So I'm going to sort of address those issues. And the reason I've chosen this topic this week is because my daughter's away at World Scout Jamboree and they've had a few issues, and so it's been on social media. And while I completely trust the Scouting New Zealand contingent and I know that she's safe and well, of course the media kind of hype it out of proportion, and every time someone asks about it or someone shares a media link, my old stress and fear levels go up a little bit and think, oh my god, she is a long way away and there's nothing I can do. And that's the truth of it. There's nothing really I can do from here. I just have to be in the present moment. But I have noticed that in feeling that fear, I've also been reaching for the biscuits a bit more. I've also been a bit snappy and short-tempered, and I've also been sort of not able to concentrate. I've been sort of, flittering here and there and not really able to sit down and sustain anything. And it all comes back to that fear because I'm feeling uncomfortable, but I'm not acknowledging what's happening. So today we're going to address that a little bit. I will add in some of the manifestations that can happen, but as always, the more specific you can be in your tapping as to what your feelings are, what your thoughts are, what your sensations are, the more beneficial and effective it will be for you. So feel free to change the words at any point. There's always going to be benefits, shared benefits by you tapping along to what I'm saying, even if it doesn't relate, but of course you can change the words. So with no further ado, we'll jump into it. So we're just going to rate our feelings of fear. Now for this, you could, it could be fear of taking a next step in some kind of action you need to do. It could be fear of, meeting someone or anything really. So just pick your topic of what you want to base your tapping on, and we're going to rate it from a scale of 0 where there's no emotion but there at all, then you're feeling absolutely fine, and 10 where there's a lot of fear and emotion. So for me, during the week, it was about at an 8 or 9, I would have to say. So I'm just going to jot that number down or keep that in mind for when I come back and reassess. And we're going to start on the karate chop. And you can just follow along with what I'm saying or change the words or add in anything you want. So even though I have all this fear, I love and accept myself. Even though I have all this fear and it's making me take actions I don't want to do, like reaching for the biscuits and being snappy at other people, I love and accept myself and how I feel. Even though I have all this fear and there's nothing I can do about it except be in the present moment, but that's really hard. So I try and distract myself by reaching for biscuits or being snappy or scrolling through Facebook instead of doing my work. I love and accept myself and how I feel, and maybe anyone else who's involved. So I'm going to go the eyebrow, all this fear that I'm feeling. Side of the eye, all this fear, and it's making me take actions I don't want to take. Under the eye, all this fear, and I'm trying to cover it up by eating or by snapping at someone else, but I'm still feeling that fear. Under the nose, all this fear. Under the mouth, I know logically it's all okay, but then I see another social media report or the news and it all comes flooding back in. Collarbone, all this fear in my body, manifesting in different ways, causing tension. Under the arm, all this fear and I'm reaching for food and I'm snapping at others to try and dissipate it, but it's still there. Top of the head. So I'm acknowledging this fear. I'm acknowledging the message it's sending me. And I'm choosing to let it go. And then take a deep breath. And then rate yourself again from that 0 to 10. So I can already feel, that I've come down a little bit, just relaxed. And like I said, I've changed it up today rather than just keeping it all this fear through all the tapping points. I've just added in a few words. But normally I keep it simple. 1, to honour Gary Craig's original technique, which was to keep it simple, and 2, so that you can make it more specific. But I just thought I'd kind of give an example of how you can add in different words. So as things come into your head, you can add them in and just tap them, because really there's no wrong way to do EFT. If you're talking and tapping and you're doing it, that's the main thing. Anyway, so we'll rate ourselves 0 to 10. If you're still above sort of a 2 or a 3, I would suggest maybe doing 1 or 2 more rounds to bring yourself down. Alternatively, you can alternate the tapping and then do the hand component that we're going to do now, and then come back to the tapping until you're right down to a 0. Because remember, when we get to a 0, the emotion's gone and it won't resurface in the same way. But to move on to the hand reflexology, we're going to work these little hands. Today, we're going to just focus, because we're working on fear, we're going to focus on some of those body parts that are impacted by fear. So our heads, because a lot of fear is all in our head. It's not reality. We start to run away with things that could happen, might happen. Our necks with the tension, our diaphragm, because quite often our breathing constricts. The nervous system, which runs along the spine reflex. So it starts up here. If you imagine this is our head, and this is the start of our spine, just like at the back of your head, and it runs down. And then our lovely adrenals in here. So we'll just start with warming up our hands. I'll just show you one hand. Imagine that you can see both. Just flexing back and forward, and then we're going to do circles rotating both ways, just to ease them up. And then we're going to do our hug. Now we can go from our shoulder or our elbow. I'm just going to go from my elbow from now. So it is just literally squeezing down your hand and your arm. Just letting some of the tension out. And you can repeat that underneath. So you get all of your arm. Now I am holding my hands up so that you can see. But obviously if you've got a pillow on your lap, you can relax your hands a lot more. And that aids to that sort of letting go and finding more balance. So now we're going to do our little finger boogie. So we hold the nail bed on either side, and we're going to do this kind of movement, if you can see my hand. And this really helps to release the tension through the fingers, which of course are our head and neck reflexes. So we're just going to do each hand, each finger, and I can feel a few cracks in mine with the tension coming out. And then you can put some hand lotion on if you like to make it glide more. We're going to work the head reflexes. So we can go all the way down to this crease here. So we're just working, I'm doing circular motions. If you want to, you could just do a glide, but we can work both sides. You could do like a little squeeze and a grip. The technique for this doesn't matter as much as the fact that you're doing it. What I really want with these videos is for you to feel like you've got something that you can use at home easily without too much thinking, without worrying about if I'm doing the right technique or the wrong technique, but rather that you've just got an action that you can take when you're feeling stressed, when you can feel those emotions coming up. And of course, most of them you'll notice, we always work the head reflexes. So, this is a good one even just by itself. So I'm going to do all of those. Breathing as we're doing it as deeply as we can. And then we're just going to stroke down the sides and the fronts and backs of our fingers just a few times. So these are our neck reflexes. And as I said, if you've got a pillow, you can kind of lie your hand flat like this, and it's a lot more relaxing, but I'm just doing it this way just so you can see. Down, so just a couple of times. If you like it, obviously you've got more time at home. I'm trying to keep this shorter so that you're not stuck in front of a screen for longer. But obviously if you're at home, you can do these for as long as you like. I'm just going down a couple of times on the sides and then front and back. I do try and keep these videos to 15 minutes or less. But in saying that, 15 minutes to improve your well-being isn't that much. So it's a good investment. It really is, if you can take just 15 minutes. And then we're just going to glide across the shoulder line because that often gets tension. Quite often hold our shoulders up in tension on both sides. So that's right at the top of the palm, the base of the fingers. We're going to go across here. Then we're going to stroke our diaphragm line. And if you remember, it comes across here and down, but for the purposes of these videos, I'm just working this part. So it's kind of like just underneath your metacarpal heads where that bends. So we can stroke, or we can actually work in a circular motion, or we can even bend over it and work along and bend into it. So try a few different ways and see which feels best for you. So the diaphragm on this one. Good workout. And then we're going to hit our solar plexus point. So that's in the middle of that diaphragm line and sort of in the gap between those third and fourth finger, depending if you call a thumb a finger. And we're just going to press in as we breathe in and release. We're going to do this 3 times on each hand. And we're going to find it on the other point, on the other hand. And if you can breathe in as deeply as possible, inflating your belly and then your lungs through the nose and then exhale through the mouth, just helps to bring in that calmer parasympathetic nervous system way of being too a bit sooner. And now we're going to stroke those adrenals that are in here. So rather than working them hard because they're already activated through our fear, we're just going to gently kind of stroke up. And this is called milking because what we have is we actually have our thumb on the other side kind of milking just gently. So it's a really light kind of feathery stroke, but it's just working them in a gentle way, letting them know that we're calming down. And if you have the intention in your mind that that's what you're doing is calming your adrenals, it also helps. It's important to have that intention as well, that healing intention. Now we're going to work down our spine. So it sort of starts, this is our head point, so where it bends, and we're just going to work down and right across the heel of the hand. So if you've got hand lotion on, this can help it glide. A way that I often do it, and I don't know if I can show it here, is if I've got my hand, I can actually work like this with a wee caterpillar walk all the way along. But it's a bit hard to show on the video, but otherwise just stroking along or inching along with your fingers right across. So from that join, following that bony kind of edge on both hands all the way across. And then we're going to give our hands a little wee hug again because this is quite good for releasing the tension. So from the top, and then we'll go from the bottom. Remember, you can do it from the shoulder if you want to. And the other arm. And underneath. Then we're just going to lay our hands together, take a few more deep breaths. This is putting our heart centers together. And just say to yourself, peace within me, as you let it go. So there you go, there's a web routine for tapping and hand reflexology to help with fear and maybe some of the manifestations that come with it. As I said, you can alternate, do 1 round of tapping, then do a little bit of hand reflexology, or keep going with the tapping until you're at a 0 and then start the hand reflexology. So I hope this helps. I'd love your comments and feedback, either as to this video or any other suggestions you have. If you like what I'm posting, then please subscribe and then you won't miss out on any, or share it around. I'd love to have more people thriving rather than just surviving. So until next week, when we'll do another tapping and hand reflexology video, have a fantastic week and I'll see you then. Bye.